You will look at my face, you will see an exhausted and defeated man. An exhausted and defeated man who started a recording he thought an hour ago and began going over all the different changes that are happening on the channel and opening the cool product for the day. And thankfully, Kaiba got readjusted, and I had to try and fix the Kaiba cam, which you will notice is not on because that was just craziness in and of itself. And that's how I noticed that I didn't actually start the recording. I started a virtual camera by accident on OBS. And that's when I went, Mother! Yeah. I was trying to do a beep while I'm making swear words, but I can't do it at the same time. I wish I was ventriloquist. That'd be cool. But I never learned how to do that properly. I had a speech impediment in the first place, so trying to become a ventriloquist was kind of out of the question a little bit. I did learn to do magic, but I'm not very good at those anymore either. Like magic tricks, like stuff. But anyways, that's what we're here for today. So, I'm going to try and do a condensed summary of what I had said earlier instead of rambling for 15-20 minutes. And then I am just going to get into the product. So, going forward, Saturdays are going to be a little bit different. I've given this a lot of thought, and it's just honestly too much of an expense to try and keep buying a new product for every Saturday for you guys to see on the channel. I love opening stuff for you guys, but it's just a little much. Um, a lot of the other series are sustainable series because they're like 50 or $100 investments for like a couple of months versus opening a product every Saturday is costing me anywhere between 20 and let's say $100 depending on what the products are. So I've decided I need to be more financially responsible. As I mentioned in one of my other videos, I'm going to avoid buying more Magic products for the time being until Avatar comes out, with the exception of 7 packs of Eternity for when we do new set versus old set. Neither of the commander decks in Edges of Eternity really interested me at the beginning of what I've seen of them so far anyway, so I'm not too worried about that. And to be perfectly honest, if there's something I'm interested in right now, although I'm a little disappointed about the expenses of the Final Fantasy products, um, I would love to pull some of those crystals. Those would be what I'd be hunting after, but I think if anything, I'll just buy singles if I want some of those instead of opening Final Fantasy because Final Fantasy is just way too expensive for packs to take the risk. Anyways, so going forward on Saturdays, the first and the final Saturday of each month, we're going to be doing something new, which I'm going to bring up tonight in the live stream. Please don't forget to tune in tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Um, we are going to be doing lots of fun stuff in that live stream, but one of the things we're going to be doing is going over a challenge that I want to put out and a new series I want to do on the channel. But that I don't want to get into any more than that per se because I don't want to spoil that for the live stream. I just want you guys to know that there are going to be a little bit of changes in the Saturday stuff in case you don't happen to come out to tonight's live stream. So going forward, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open one product a month on a Saturday. I have 3 or 4 different products that I have set aside that I've bought while things were on sale. A couple of the card shops had anniversary sales and things like that locally around me, and I was able to pick up a few things for you guys to see. So I have those kind of set aside, and I'll open one of those each month. Um, the other Saturday, my goal, if I can get better at editing, is to make a Kaiba video for you guys once a month. Something cool where just kind of like a summary of some of our adventures that I want to try and do a little bit more editing on, maybe add a little text into, splice a few different edits together, those kinds of things. Get something really neat out there for you guys because I know a lot of you guys are really enjoying the pug content specifically, and that's awesome. Kaiba loves having all the likes and comments, so keep those up, please. But in the meantime. And then the other thing is if a month happens to have, say, 5 Saturdays, which is going to be rare, then I'll probably throw in an extra like Dollarama Draws of Destiny or something like that. Um, I am still going to do the occasional product review of like say a deck box or something that I'll do separately, and that won't count as a Saturday video. Or I might do say what else might I do? I might do like a response video, and those will happen whenever they happen, kind of thing. But in terms of Saturdays, I just feel first off, I feel like it wasn't really being very random if I just keep opening a product every Saturday. It's kind of silly to call it a random thing if it's not really random. It's random for you guys because you don't know what product it's going to be, but it's still not really random because I'm doing the same thing every Saturday. And then, like I say, it's just too expensive. But I didn't want you guys to go. I didn't want this to be a sad video. I didn't want it to be like a downer. So I wanted to get something really cool for this specific Saturday because, of course, next Saturday will be the first one of the month, and that will be when the new series starts. So for this Saturday, um, I tried to get Kaiba to come over and eat a snack, but he didn't want to, so it's sitting over here on the floor. For this Saturday, we're going to open Ravnica Clue Edition. Um, I tried to do a funny intro into this, but I just rambled for like 5 minutes before I got into it, so I'm not going to bother this time. What I am going to say is I think this thing is really cool looking, and I didn't actually open any of the packs or anything yet, so we haven't spoiled any of the cards. But I did open the actual outer box, so but I still wanted to look at the back of it because I think this is really cool. It says that in this unique clue-inspired spin on Magic the Gathering, there are two ways to win. You can hurl spells at your opponent on the battlefield, or you can hurl accusations to correctly deduce the killer. Deal combat damage to uncover the suspects, rooms, and weapons held by other players. To use the process of elimination unless you're eliminated first. Um, this product comes with a 21 card clue booster, which includes all these all of the characters from Clue originally have magic versions of themselves, and they're all legendaries, so they can be used as commanders, which is pretty cool. I haven't decided whether I want to actually take them out of this kit and build commander decks with them, or if I want to just leave them in this kit, because I like playing different alternative versions of Magic. This was part of the ramble from earlier. I really enjoy Planes Chase, first off. I'm working on getting enough cards to do Arch Enemy. I need one more set of 10 to have enough for that. I have enough cards to do Bounty, which is a cool version of the game from Outlaws at Thunder Junction. And of course, you guys have seen me doing the Jumpstart Your Day forever and a day now. I think we've been doing them since, I don't know, February or March. So it's been a while that we've been doing it. And I'm working on building my cube for that. So, I mean, I love Commander, don't get me wrong. And I'm not a huge fan of the 60 card formats that exist out there. But whenever you can spice things up with something that's unique, I'm always for that too. So that's a big reason why I bought this product. I'm going to give a quick shout out to Tista Minis. If you're in the Hamilton area or if you're just simply shopping online, Tista Minis is a great place to shop. That's where I picked up this when they were doing their anniversary sale. I think I got this for like 10 or 15% off. Like, it was a pretty good deal for sure for what it was actually worth. In addition to it already being a little bit of a reduced price. So that was pretty cool. Um, Big thing about this before we get too far into it. Oh, I didn't actually finish what I was saying here. So there are 8 20 card Clue Edition boosters, which I think function like Jumpstart. And I was originally going to open them as Jumpstart Your Days, but I decided I'm just going to do the product all at once for you guys today. It's going to be a little bit longer video. Um, And then, of course, we have the live stream tonight. So if you guys don't tune into everything this weekend, I'm not going to be disappointed in any way, shape, or form. I appreciate you guys tuning into whatever you can and just giving the support that you do. That's awesome. This thing also comes with 4 hidden info screens, an evidence notepad, a case file envelope, Ravnica Clue Edition card box, and a Shockland box topper, which is the big reason why people ended up buying this. A lot of people really didn't care for this product whatsoever. They took the cards out of it, they used them for commander decks or modern or whatever they decided to build. But there's not a lot of love for this product. But what there was a lot of love for is the fact that they included a Shockland at the top of this thing. Now, for those of you who aren't super huge Magic fans, but just tune in because you guys are awesome and you want to support me, Shocklands are cards that are worth some decent coin on the market. Um, the ones from this set in particular are going for a range from, I think it's the lowest one was like somewhere around $15 US. And I think the highest one I seen was going for somewhere in the neighborhood of 40. So I mean, they're worth a decent amount for a single card. And I honestly wasn't sure if I was going to open this today for you guys, the Shockland. I debated this a lot because I don't normally check the prices, as you know. I'm not a big, huge fan of checking prices and what is the value of stuff until after I've opened it, at least. But the Shocklands, knowing I knew ahead of time that that they were worth some decent coins, so I looked into it, and interesting fun fact, if I leave this pack unopened, it's worth somewhere in the neighborhood of $25 American, which is roughly somewhere in the neighborhood of like 40 to 50 Canadian, which is a lot of coin. If I open it, there's about a 50% chance that it will lose in value, and there's about a 50% chance that it will maintain or gain value. Um, because a lot of the Shocklands are going for somewhere in the neighborhood of $15 to $20 American, but there are some that are actually worth more than what this is worth sealed. Ultimately, I've decided I'm going to open it just because the not knowing would drive me insane. Yes, I take after Pandora, I guess. I've got to open the box. And with that said, let's open the box. So I opened this before, and I got about as far as pulling all this stuff out before the camera went down. So in here we have our Shockland, which we're going to save for later, and our solution envelope for the clue game. We also have these 4, like, you can put these up in front of you to block people from seeing what you're writing down. So, boards, they're pretty nice. Art. This explains all the different characters and how the game is played. And this is about as far as I got when the camera went down. So, we have Emissary Green, who is guided by a mysterious world spirit. The Conclave, the Selesnya Conclave, seeks to bring nature and the city into balance. In the middle there, we have the lead into the game. My esteemed colleague, you are hereby invited to my humble home for an evening of dinner and conversation. A meeting of the minds on the future of guild unity. Bring only an open heart, a sympathetic ear, and an empty stomach. And don't be late. Guild Mage Body. I personally am all for the don't be late. My family heritage on my dad's side, at least, is mostly German, and we like that stick to the time thing. If I am early, I'm on time. If I am on time, I'm late. And if I'm late, I'm not showing up. Apothecary White is of the Orzhov Signet, or Syndicate, sorry. At the heart of Ravnica's cash flow are the Orzhov, who always come to collect even after death. And then we have Headliner Scarlet of the Cult of Rakdos. These vicious entertainers gleefully ensure that every performance is a riot. Mastermind Plum, House of Demir. The shadowy agents from this guild peddle influence, leverage, and back alley espionage. Me personally, I like Demir and Orzhov and Rakdos. Basically anything with black in it, I'm pretty for. But I do play pretty much all the colors of the rainbow, as you've seen in my commander decks that I've put on the channel for you guys. The Boros Legion has Commander Mustard. As Ravnica's standing army, the Boros Legion pursues the cause of justice. And Senator Peacock of the Azoria Senate. The Senate settles disputes and maintains order between Ravnica's guilds. So those are our six characters from Clue. And I think that they did a decent job of giving them a reskin into the game per se. I'm excited to see what each of their cards do when we open up the boosters. But for now, we've got this. So Guildmage's body lies slain in his manor. One of his 6 invited guests is responsible. As a detective with the Ravnica Agency of Magicological Investigations, you have been tasked with identifying the manner of his demise. Either crack the case before your rival sleuths, or end their investigations permanently. The object of the game is to complete in a free-for-all multiplayer magic game with 2 paths to victory. Gather evidence when your creatures deal combat damage, then use clues to guess the evidence cards in the case file envelope. If your guesses are correct, you win. Or you can also win if you're the last player standing. So basically, it plays like a regular game of Magic, it sounds like. But if you can solve the mystery before you actually lose the game, if you're down to, say, like 2 life, and you take a guess and you get it right, hey, you win the game. It's designed for 3 to 4 players, but works well for 2. And the elements of this game can be used with your own magic decks in games of up to 5 players. So if you want to bring in some extra outside cards, you could, in theory, actually have enough to make it a 5-player game. To do the setup, you're going to open 2 of the Ravnica Clue Edition boosters, shuffle them together. That's your deck for the library for the game, your deck. And everybody else who's playing does the same. Then you open the Clue booster and separate the 21 evidence cards into 3 piles: suspects, weapons, and rooms. So yeah, I'm going to have to leave the commanders in this kit if I want to be able to play this, which is fine. I'm not opposed to that. If I do want to pull them out and make a commander deck, I can always make a commander deck, and when I want to play the Clue, I can just take all the commanders from the Clue and add them back into this. That's also a possibility. Lots of things I can do with this kit, which is why it's really cool. For all those people who gave it a really negative review, I actually think this might be really fun. Anyways, continuing on, we separate the suspects' weapons and rooms, and then we shuffle each pile and place it face down, and then you take a card from each of those. Cards found in the Clue Booster aren't meant to be used on the battlefield with those from the Ravnica Clue Edition boosters. Okay, so you're not supposed to use the commanders, the weapons, etc. with the actual packs. You can play them in other Magic decks if you wish, but in this game mode, they're only intended for evidence cards, which is, great because they'll actually stay in decent condition, that means, too, probably. You place the top card from each of those piles into the envelope, and then you guys start playing the game. You reveal the top 2 cards of the room pile and set them aside. Shuffle the remaining suspect weapon and rune cards together and deal them out face down to each player, and you have to keep those separate from your library and hidden from everyone else. Hand out a writing utensil and a sheet from the notepad to each player so that they can record their evidence, and of course one of those cardboards I showed you. And then look at your evidence and write down your stuff on your sheet, and you're ready to play. Apparently, when you play the game, it plays like a regular version of Magic, except with the following rules. You and everybody else who's playing start with 30 life. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, you must make a suggestion. You must take a shot, basically, at what you think the solution to the game is. That Oh, you make a suggestion to the person you dealt combat damage to, I guess. Okay, that's cool. So you make that suggestion to that player, and that player then has to show you one of the evidence cards based on your suggestion if they have one. Um, if they have more than one, they get to choose which one they show you. If your creatures deal combat damage to multiple players at the same time, you can make a suggestion, and the player closest to your left shows you an evidence card if possible. If they can't, then the next player does it, and so on and so forth, going around the table clockwise. At the beginning of your end step, if you haven't made a suggestion, you may exile cards with total mana value 6 or greater from your graveyard to do so. Okay, so if you don't deal damage to anybody in a turn, you can actually remove some of your cards from the game and still make a suggestion if you want to, which is pretty cool. Um, Suggestion evidence tips. If you don't know what evidence to include in your suggestion, you can find the names of all suspects, weapons, etc. on the notepad sheet. And make sure you mark down what you've found and what you've been shown so that you can keep track. It also says whenever you show an evidence card to a player, you create a treasure token. Ooh, that's pretty cool. If you lose a game, you reveal all your evidence cards to everybody. If you think you know who did it, at the beginning of your end step, after any suggestions have been made, you can make an accusation to solve the murder. You say, I accuse blah 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 blah, then check the case file envelope without letting other players see the evidence cards inside. You can only make one accusation per game, so be careful. If you named everything inside the envelope correctly, you reveal them and you win the game. If you are wrong, you put those cards back in the envelope and you keep them hidden from the other players. You can no longer make suggestions or accusations for the rest of the game, but you can still respond to any from other players. Also, you can still win the game by killing everybody off. Basically, to summarize. So that's really cool. I like that. It's a really neat way to cross the two games over and give you a lot of interesting stuff to work with. So I'm just going to put that up there. And then we're going to look at what we got here. First, we got this neat little box that has all our suspects' weapons and such in it. So we'll open this one first. And then I want to open those packs and I want to make sure I do it very carefully so I don't damage the foil because I'm going to slide each of the pack sets of cards back into the pack afterwards. We got something in here too to look at afterwards. Cool. Okay, so we got a wrench, candlestick, lead pipe, knife, rip. Do they all do the same thing? No, they do different things. Okay. It's +1/+1 in vigilance. Pay 3 to tap target creature. That's neat. +1/+1, and whenever this creature attacks or veil to. Okay. +2/+0, whenever a quick creature dies, each opponent loses a life. Hmm. As long as it's your turn, a quick creature gets +1/+1 on its first strike. Quick creature is +1/+2 and has reach and can't be blocked by more than one creature. Damn. Then we got the ballroom. Enters the battlefield tapped, gives you white or black. Billiard room. Enters the battlefield tapped, gives you red or black. And you pay 4 to tap either to any of these lands and investigate, which is cool. Conservatory. Enters battlefield tapped, green and white. Dining room, green and red. Hall, red and white. Kitchen. Is that close enough that you guys can see these artworks? Because the artworks are actually pretty well done. Not so much on the weapons. The weapons are okay, but I actually like the rooms. I think they did a decent job on the rooms based on trying to capture what was on the clue board and make it appropriate for the Magic game with the right colors and stuff. So there's the hall, there's the kitchen, green and blue. Library is green and or is blue and red. Lounge is green and black. That's interesting. Secret passage is blue and black. That one makes a lot of sense actually. Study is blue and white. Also makes a lot of sense, I think. And then we got our commanders. So if we ever want to build a mono white deck, we have Vigilance. Whenever you attack, create a food token for each player being attacked. Pay white, tap X untapped foods, create X 1/1 white human creatures. Pretty good. I like that. Senator Peacock is a blue commander. Artifacts you control are clues in addition to their other types and have the regular clue thing. Pay 2, sacrifice, draw a card. Whenever you sacrifice a clue, target creature can't block this turn. Can't be blocked this turn. That's nice. These cards are all actually really good. I will probably build mono-colored commander decks out of each of these, plus a Boros one for the Commander Mustard one. Whenever Mastermind Plum attacks, exile one target card from a graveyard. If an artifact is exiled this way, you get to create a treasure. Whenever you cast a spell, if mana from a treasure is spent, you get to draw a card and you lose a life. That one's probably the first one I don't actually care for much. That one's kind of lame. Mastermind Plum is disappointing. Headliner Scarlet. Haste 3/3. When it enters battlefield, creatures target player controls can't block this turn. That's pretty sick. Beginning your upkeep, exile top card of your library face down. You can look at and play that card this turn. So it gives you Impulse, which I'm not a huge fan of Impulse, so that one's still better than the Plum, but not as good as the first two. Emissary Green, whenever attacks starting with you, each player votes for profit or security. You get treasure tokens equal to twice the number of profit, and you get to put +1/+1 counters on each creature you control equal to the number of security. Shoot! That's a good card for voting decks. And finally, Commander Mustard, who is actually probably the best one of the bunch. Vigilance, red, white. Other soldiers besides him have Vigilance, Trample, and Haste. And you can pay 2 red and white until end of turn. All your soldiers also gain whenever this creature attacks, it deals 1 damage to defending player. That by far is the best one out of the bunch. And definitely worth his weight in gold, per se, ironically. If I were to pick an order to these, I would say probably Commander Mustard would be my favorite, would be my top pick. I think then it would go Apothecary, Peacock, Green, Scarlet, and Plum. Plum would be the worst one out of the bunch. So those cards, like I say, we're not supposed to actually use those per se for the game, for like playing. You know what I mean. We're supposed to keep those for evidence and stuff during the actual clue game. But I will probably end up making a commander deck for most of those at some point. We got our boosters here, which I'll just put there. And then we got, what is in here? Oh, we got a couple of dividers for, okay, that's nice. Ways to divide the box up so that we don't have to actually just keep using them. Now, granted, they're cheap-ass dividers, which sucks, but it is a great way to at least keep my stuff from getting all mixed up when I want to put this away. Just set the dividers up now as best I can without damaging anything. I will say that the one for the Foundation Starter Kit that we opened earlier in the year had a lot better slots for the dividers than this one does. This one's slots kind of suck. But I've got them in there. So now I can put all these guys into one spot there. And then I can put the clue sheets, which we didn't actually look at, but they're actually really nicely designed, look very similar to Real Clue, which is cool. So we'll put those back there. We'll put, damn, there goes the top box. We'll put the instructions in the hidden cardboard there. So it's ready to go back in when I'm ready to shut this. Then we will just go from there. Oh, Shockland went down. That's not good for it. Alright, let's open up one of these and see if I'm right. I'm betting there will be 10 lands and 10 random cards in here. Damn, I was not able to reserve the pack very well. Oh well, I will figure out something. Or them eventually. First one is Azorius Signet. Or Senate, sorry. You know what? I'm just going to open each of these, and I'm going to leave them as they are in a plastic wrap for a second while because I want to see if each one, if there's all 10 guilds. They gave us what, 8 of these? So they can't be 10. Are there any repeats? Civic. I was really hoping that these would actually open really nice at the top and you can just slide the cards back in, but oh well. There's Boros. Again, if I end up not wanting to keep this, if I find that nobody's ever going to want to play this with me, I can always use all these cards too in the commander decks that I end up building. Is it? Pretty sure there's supposed to be 10 guilds, but since it's only 8 packs, there's gotta be 2 guilds that get shortchanged in this product. See, now that's a nice opening. That's what I was trying to go for each time. But I could then just do this, and then I could slide them back in, and I could keep that. But, oh well. Silesia? So Izzet and Cynic are two that weren't included originally in the list. So I'm assuming these last three will be ones that the commanders have. Nope, I was wrong. There's Gruul. So we're probably not getting one of them. Demir and a second Cynic. We did not get a Bor, or we did not get Rakdos. That sucks. I like Rakdos. That's interesting. I thought you would get for sure like I know they came in these, and I assumed that was just so that it would be a mystery when you actually open the product to start playing. But I really thought that you would get 8 different ones. And I thought for sure you would get one for each of the guilds that is in the set. So we did not get Orzhov. We did not get Rakdos. We got the other 4 though. So we got 4 out of the 6. But I mean, I don't really know why there's a Gruul one in here, first off. Gruul isn't even a part of this. And I got 2 Civics, and Civic isn't a part of it either. So, I don't know. That kind of sucks. A little bit. We're still gonna open these, and like I say, I'm just gonna put them into the box for now. What I'll probably do is the same thing that I've been doing with my Jumpstart cube. I'm basically just putting uh, a set of a bunch of these packs into my empty deck box or empty sleeves boxes. I keep all the sleeve boxes because I really like the artwork, and I've been using those essentially to store all of my Jumpstart cube. So we will open each of these, try and get through it fairly quickly because I know my brother is on his way here at some point today, and I don't want to be recording while he's coming. We got Sage's Rose Savant. Enters battlefield, scry 2, pass while adept, 2 and a blue, target creature can't be blocked. Scuttling Sentinel, Crab Elf. That's weird. Flash Vigilance. When it enters battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on another target creature you control until end of turn. That creature becomes a blue crab in addition to its other types and gains Expert. Okay. Skitter Eel. Pay 2 and a blue, adapt 2. Nice. Roman Ghostlight, 3 and 2 blue for a 3/2 with flying. That's a lot. What else do you get when return non-spirit creature to its owner's hand? Not really that great. Helium Squirter, 4 and a blue for a 0/0, but you graft 3 when it enters battlefield. Put 3 +1/+1 counters on it. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, you can move a +1/+1 counter from it. And you can pay 1 target creature with a +1/+1 counter on it, gets flying this turn. That's not bad. Slip out the back, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, it phases out. That's nice. Rapid Hybridization? Destroy target creature, it can't be regenerated. Creature's controller gets a 3/3 green frog lizard. Yeah. Cynic Signet. Psychic Impetus. Creature enchanted. ++2. Goaded. I hate Goad. Thriving Island. Simic Gilgate. Simic Growth Chamber. Ooh, that's a good one to include. I do like that. Unruly Crassus, Shark, Octopus, Lizard, Trample. When this thing attacks, you may have the base power and toughness of another target creature you control become XX until end of turn, where X is this thing's power. And then you can pay 3 blue and a green to adapt 3 and make it a 7/7. Master Biomancer, 2, a blue and a green for Elf Wizard. Each other creature you control enters the battlefield with a number of additional +1/+1 counters on it equal to this thing's power. And as a mutant in addition to its other types. Damn, that's pretty good. Few islands, no forests. That's interesting. No actual forests. Huh. Alright. Put the Guildgate there. I'm not gonna... Well, we'll open it just to see if it's the same. Since they gave us 2 copies, did they really shaft us and give us 2 of the exact same thing? Because if they did, that really sucks. Yes, 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 yes. Looks like it. Definitely looks like it. Yep, exact same thing. That sucks. You would think you would get 8 unique ones. Alright, I can see why some people didn't like this product. At least on that front. That's annoying. That really is. Still have 6 of these to open though. And on one hand, I mean, again, if I decide to take it apart, at least one of these I can actually keep for a jumpstart pack. Not really though, because there's not enough lands in it. That's a good point. There's not enough lands in these to really play them very well. Curious. Wonder if Azorius is going to have blue or white. Law Rune Enforcer. Tap target creature with mana value 2 or greater for 1. That's not bad. Zorius Arrestor, 1 and a white for a 2/1. Enters the battlefield. Detain target creature until opponent's. Detain target creature and opponent controls. Until your next turn, that creature can attack, block, or activate its activated abilities. Huh. War Screecher, 1 and a white for a 1/3 with flying, 5 and a white, tap, other creatures control get +1. Yeah, that sucks. Trusted Pegasus, 2 and a white for a 2/2 with flying. Whenever it attacks, target creature without flying gains flying until end of turn. Nice. Portal Manipulator. Flash, when this thing enters the battlefield during the declare attacker's step. Choose target player and any number of target attacking creatures that their opponents control. Those creatures are now attacking that player. Oh, shoot. Okay, so if you're getting attacked, you flash this thing in and you send everything that's attacking you to somebody else. That's pretty cold. Azorius Justicar, when this thing enters the battlefield, detain up to 2 target creatures and opponent controls. Enforcer Griffin, flying, 3/4 for 5. Yeah. Oust, 1 white, put target creature into its owner's library second from the top, and they gain 3 life. Curse of Chains, enchant creature at the beginning of each upkeep, tap enchanted creature. Untap, upkeep, tap. Rally to battle, 3 and a white. Creatures you control get +1/+3 until end of turn. Untap them. White mana, Azorius Guildgate, Azorius Chancery. Ooh, you get a legendary at least in this one. 1 white and blue twice. Vigilance, whenever you cast your second spell each turn, investigate. Tap this, add 2 colorless, but only during an opponent's turn. Supreme Verge. 1, 2 white, and a blue. This spell can't be countered. Destroy all creatures. Pretty solid. And then, yeah, just white mana. So, I mean, I don't know what they were thinking with this, to be honest. I think this is kind of poorly designed, if you ask me. House of Demir, are you giving me black or are you giving me blue? Granted, most of that set was white. Like, if you actually look into that set, how many creatures were really blue? I think there was just a couple that actually had mixed. Like, there was no full blue cards per se. So is that true of this one too? No, see this one. Well, yeah, okay. I can see what they're going for, but I still don't like it per se. Basically, each set is one color like Jumpstart is, but it makes itself seem like it's two because there are a few cards that play multiple colors, like this one, for example. Roofstalker White. 1 and a black, 2/1. Pay 1 and a blue, this thing gets flying until end of turn. Masked Blackguard, 1 and a black, 2/1 flash. Pay 2 and a black, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Whisper Agent, 1 in black and blue twice. Flash, when it enters battlefield, surveil 1. Undercover Butler, when it attacks target player with the most life, or tied for the most life, it can't be blocked. That's pretty good. That would go great in my rogues deck if I decided to, pick this stuff apart. Mausoleum Turnkey, Enters the battlefield, return target creature card and opponent's choice from your graveyard to your hand. Tithe Bearer Giant. Enters the battlefield, you draw a card and you lose a life. Discovery or Dispersal. Either surveil 2 and draw a card, or each opponent returns a non-land permanent they control with the highest mana value to its owner's hand and then discards a card. Murder, classic, makes sense for this set too. Infest, it's alright. -2/-2 all creatures. Ribbons of Night, 4 and a black, deals 4 damage to target creature and you gain 4 life. If blue was spent to cast this, you also get to draw a card. More, Gamir Gilgate, Dimir Aqueduct, Dimir Strandcatcher, 2 and a blue and a black twice. Flying, whenever you attack, surveil X, where X is the number of opponents being attacked. At the beginning of each end step, if 3 or more cards were put into your graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield this turn, you get to draw a card. Okay. Thief of Sanity. Flying Spectre, 1 blue black for a 2/2. When it deals combat damage to a player, look at the top 3 cards of that player's library, exile one of them face down, put the rest into your graveyard. You can cast the card for as long as it remains exiled and mana of any. Holy crap, that's mean. And some black. Alright, 4 left to go. 41 minutes in. Not so bad. Whoops, that one did not rip where it was supposed to very well. Oh, I grabbed it from the wrong side, that's why. Gruel? Let's see how gruel you are. Gravel High Goblin. Okay, we're going red apparently for the most part. Gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Bloodthirst Menace, Human Berserker, 1 red for 1/1. Okay. Bloodthirst 2 is pretty nice. Gets +1/+1 counters if you dealt damage this turn to somebody. Fire Wild Shaman, Goblin Shaman, Blood Rush, 1 in a red. Discard it. Target attacking creature gets +3/+1 until end of turn. Shoot. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, if this thing is in your graveyard, you can pay 3. If you do, return it to your hand. Nice. Turret Ogre. 4/3 reach for 4, 3 to red. When it enters, if you control another creature with power 4 or greater, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. Furious Spine Slitter. 2 in a red and a green twice. Trample. Red or green twice, sorry. At the beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 counter on this thing for each opponent that was dealt damage this turn. Nice. Chain Whip Cyclops, 4 in a red for a 4/4. Target creature can't block this turn, but you have to pay 3 in a red. That kind of sucks. Ripscale Predator, Menace, 6/5 Dinosaur. Kind of a weird looking dinosaur for 6. As Ravnica's wilds expanded, even advocates for nature had to confront fiercer natural threats. Not fond of that dinosaur. Rule Signet, Shiny Impetus, that's interesting. Creature gets goaded, of course. And when it attacks, you get a treasure token. Fire Sprout deals 3 damage to each creature without flying if red is spent. And 3 damage to each creature with flying if green is spent. Thriving Bluff, Gilgate, Gruul Turf. Herald of Ilharg. 2 red, green, Boar Beast, Trample. Whenever you cast a creature spell, put 2 +1/+1 counters on this thing. If that spell had mana value 5 or greater, this thing deals damage equal to the number of counters on it to each opponent. Wow! That's gonna smack for some big pain. And Clan Defiance. Choose 1 or more. Deals X damage to target creature with flying. Deals X damage to target creature without flying. Deals X damage to target player or planeswalker. And we got some mentions. I don't think X spells are going to be super powerful in this, to be honest, just because there's not a lot of lands in these packs. Like, 2 packs are going to give you a 40-card deck with 10 lands. That's a pretty sad 40-card deck compared to what we normally play. No, it's not even 10 lands. There's 5 lands at the back plus 3 lands in the middle. You're getting 16 lands per deck. Oh, wait, that's better than what I thought it was. Never mind. Never mind. Forget what I'm talking about. I've been up since 2:30, very tired. Novice Inspector on the Boris Legion is a human detective. I was expecting all these to be soldiers, to be honest. When it enters, investigate 1/2. There's a soldier. As long as it's your turn, this thing has first strike. There's a soldier. First strike mentor. Mentor is good. Put +1/+1 counter on target attacking creature with lesser power than this thing. Rock Charger. 2 and a white for a bird. Flying 1/3. When it attacks, target attacking creature without flying gets flying. Okay. Parhelion Patrol. Flying Vigilance Mentor. 2/3 for 4. That's pretty good. Ord Rune Mentor? I'm not sure. Minotaur Soldier, 2 in a red or white, 3/2. Has Mentor. When you attack a player, target attacking creature that's attacking that player gains first strike until end of turn. Nice. Integrity or Intervention. Either target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn, or deals 3 damage to any target and you gain 3 life. Mighty Leap. Target creature gets +2/+2 in flying. Martial Impetus is a great one. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and is goaded. Whenever enchanted creature attacks, each other creature that's attacking one of your opponents gets +1/+1 until end of turn. I actually hate goad more than you could possibly imagine, but I will admit that that's a pretty good one. That one and the one that gives treasures are both really good. I forget what the blue one does. I'll go back and look at it in a second. Guildgate, Garrison, also Thriving Heath. Wait, really? Heath? I would have thought they would have went red. I guess this is a white pack, though. Aegis of the Legion. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has Mentor. Whenever the equipped creature mentors a creature, put a shield counter on that creature. Damn! That's awesome. Shield counters are really cool because they prevent things from being dealt damage or destroyed. And a Boros Signet, which is okay. Final Glory. X and 2 white, create X 2/2 white soldier creature tokens with vigilance. If X is 10 or more, create 4 also create X 4/4 white angel creature tokens with flying and vigilance. Damn. And some planes. Alright. 2 left. Go back here, just because I am curious, and it's going to bug me if I don't double check. Whenever enchanted creature attacks, you get to scry 2. Yeah, that one's not the best one. Scrying 2 is okay, but I like the treasure token better. And the +1/+1 is actually pretty good if you want to encourage people not to attack you. At least until everyone else is dead. Then you're kind of screwed. Alright, we got the Is It League. I'm going with blue on this one, but I could be wrong. It might be red. Fire Urchin. Trample. When you cast an instant or sorcery, this thing gets +1/+0 until end of turn. It's a 1/3. Frostburn Weird. A blue and a red twice. Gets +1/-1 until end of turn. If you pay a blue or a red, it's a 1/4. Spellgorger Weird. Apparently these are all going to be weirds, it looks like, maybe? Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on this thing. Ecstatic Electromancer. Goblin Wizard. Prowess, and whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, you can discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Damn, it's pretty good for 3. Goblin Wizardry. Create 2 1/1 red Goblin Wizard creature tokens with Prowess. Nice. Living Lightning. Deals 3 damage. No, whenever it dies, return target instant or sorcery from your graveyard to your hand. Weird. Alright. Lightning Bolt. I was expecting more of these. Street Spasm deals X damage to target creature without flying you don't control. You can pay XX red to overload it. Huh. Is it Signet? Direct Current. 1 and 2 red. Deals 2 damage to any target. Jumpstart. Thriving Bluff. Is it Guildgate? Is it Boilerworks? Corporeal Projection. Until target creature you control gains Myriad until end of turn. But you can pay 3, 2 blue, and 2 red to give all your creatures Myriad. That is insane. Some of these cards are insanely awesome for decks that I love, but I just don't know if I really want to pull this apart. Flying Haste, you may cast sorcery spells as though they had flash. Nice. And it's a dragon. And 5 mountains. I was right about that being red. Or did I call blue? I can't remember. Let me know what you think in the comments below of this product. Do you think this product is worth what it's going for? I think I paid 65 or 70 Canadian for it, which isn't terrible, I didn't think, but this last pack really doesn't want to open. Bend in the corner of the art card. Transluminant. Pay a white, sacrifice this thing, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying at the beginning of your next end step. Huh. It's a 2/2. Vernardi Shieldmate, 1 in a white or green, vigilant 2/2, not bad. Selesnya Guildmage, 2 green or 2 white, or a mix of the two. And it can make saprolings. It can also make your creatures get +1/+1 until end of turn. Yeva's Force Mage. Elf Shaman, when it enters the battlefield, target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Sumala Rumblers. 2 in either 2 green or 2 white or a mix of the two. Its power is equal to the number of creatures you control. And it has Myriad. Damn. Affectionate Indrik. 5 and a green for a 4/4 beast. When it enters the battlefield, it fights target creature you don't control. You can choose to. It's not a must. It's a may. Finds of the Recluse, 1 for an instant. Target creature gets +1/+2 and reach until end of turn. Untap it. Selesnya Signet. Band together, 2 and a green. Up to 2 target creatures you control deal damage to equal to their power to another target creature. Overcome, 3 and 2 green. Creatures you control get +2/+2 and trample until end of turn. Nice. That one's actually pretty cool. Thriving Grove, Selesnya Guildgate, Selesnya Sanctuary. Vernal Sovereign. 4, a green and a white. When this thing enters the battlefield or attacks, create a green and white elemental creature token with this creature's power and toughness are each equal to the number of creatures you control. Shoot. Beast Whisperer. Damn. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you draw a card. Nice. And some force. Okay. Before I open this, I want to throw out there that I definitely see the potential to build a lot of neat stuff with some of these cards for sure. There's also a lot of cards in there that kind of feel like they're not super great. Um, would I like to take this apart and make commander decks? Maybe. Do I want to leave this as a thing for being able to play games with other people? Yeah, to be honest, I think I kind of do. Would I choose to remove some of the cards in here and replace them with other cards and then, you know, use those cards to build commander decks? No. I don't think that'll be fun. I think if I mix and match at a certain point, I'm just reducing the power of this, and then this won't be as much fun to play with. With that said, again, I really do wish that I had 8 unique packs instead of the double, but it is what it is. I can definitely still make a lot of fun with this. The only thing that'll suck is if one person ends up with the double twice, then they're going to have a really strong one color deck essentially, but like I said, nothing we can do about that. All right. I don't want to keep you guys any longer. It's almost been an hour already. You guys have been holding out really strong, wanting to see what's in here. So let's give her our shot. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. And we got the Blood Crew out. This is one of the really good ones, guys, I think, if I remember correctly. Plus, I love the artwork on this one. This is actually one of the ones I was hoping to pull. It is a hollow, so it's going to crinkle, unfortunately. I will have to put it into like a sleeve and put it into a plastic holder to make sure it stays solid, but really, really good pull. What a great way to end our final consistent um, random Saturday, uh, random product Saturday pull, whatever you want to call it. Um, I am going to have to get some pencils to put into this kit for sure. But yeah, I'm really excited to actually keep this together the way it is and to see if some people want to play some Clue Magic. In the meantime, in between time, let me know what you would do with your set if you bought one of these. And much love to you all from me. You take care. See you guys tonight in the live stream. Bye.